Hi everybody, I hope everybody's doing good. Like I say in all my videos, I'm not responsible if anybody gets hurt. Today I'm going to be doing a tarot reading, entertainment purposes, about Natalie Wood, the actress. She was born July 20th, 1938 in California till November 29th, right after Thanksgiving, 1981. She was an actress. She was married. Was married to Robert Wagner and Richard Josson, and she had three daughters, and she was five, two. Yeah, and she was in Splendor in the Grass and other movies. Miracle on 34th Street, West Side Story, Rebel Without a Cause with James Dean, Splendor in the Grass, The Great Race, and Gypsy and Brainstorm. So I'm going to do about her childhood. I'm going to look into her childhood because she said she didn't have a good mother. So I'm going to look into that. Please tell me about her childhood and her mother, Natalie Wood. Please tell me about her childhood with her mother. Was it awful? Because her mother was a stage mother, and she, was raised into entertainment. Did she have a terrible childhood with her mother? It said that lack of inner joy. She didn't have very joy being with her mother and being in Hollywood during the 40s and 50s when she was growing up. She didn't enjoy it. And she also felt she tried to be happy about it, but she wasn't, about being a child actress. And she was disaffection about it. She wasn't happy about being a child star. She didn't like it. She tried to have courage in her acting. She liked some of it as she got older. She liked it being with her. She was married to Robert. Let me look. Robert. She was married to one of her husbands, Robert Wagner, her first and last husband. Yeah, she tried to get happiness and be happy about her working with him and other people. And she felt personally, she tried to have harmony. She had conflict with him and her mother and the people in Hollywood. She had conflict with her mother and the people in Hollywood. She didn't like how they were running things in Hollywood, and she thought they did some underhanded things to people in Hollywood, especially children. So she had a lot of conflict with her mother and how Hollywood did children and people during during the 50s and the 40s and the 50s. She just didn't like how they were treating children and her. She really did not like it. There was conflicts with her mother. She fought with her mother because I think at that early age she didn't want to be a star. She wanted to be with other kids and go to school and not have to go to schooling in Hollywood. You know how they had tutors and everything. She really didn't want. She wanted to have a normal childhood, and also she was trying to have a better relationship with her mother. She did a lot of things for her mother that she normally wouldn't want to do. She was pulled in a bunch of directions. So I feel like she didn't like her mother and how her mother was treating her in Hollywood. She cared more about being seen and stuff. So I'm going to see. I know this is a tabloid and this is Hollywood. This is entertainment purposes. Was she mistreated, abused, mentally or physically or anything? Was Natalie Wood abused by anybody in Hollywood? Because she in later books she said she was abused, and it says she was abused in one of the cards. So entertainment purposes, was Natalie Wood mentally, physically, or different ways abused by people in Hollywood? It says there was a lot of judgment. She judged the people for the way she was being mistreated in Hollywood. She didn't like how they were acting toward her. They tried to make her more as an adult than she was. She was more a kid, growing up in Hollywood, and they tried to make her more of an adult. And I feel like they were reckless with her. She felt like they were reckless with her, doing things that she didn't want to do. She did things that she didn't like, what the people in Hollywood doing to kids, like I said in the other cards, and she didn't like them. And she tried to forgive them. She tried to forgive her mother for the way she was being raised and everything. She didn't like it, and she was trying to forgive her mother. And she had creative opportunities. She, when she got older, she was in Splendor in the Grass, and she got a divorce and ended up with Warren Beatty and dated him. And she seemed happy, and there was a lot of creative opportunities. She was in Splendor in the Grass. She was friends with James Dean and all those people in the 50s. So she really tried to be happy, and she had dreams of maybe someday finding another guy and getting married and having children. So she was trying to be happy with other men because and she wanted to develop into different characters. Like she was in other movies, and she wanted to develop in characters. So she tried to do that. She was in a movie called Gypsy and Firestorm with her first husband that she married the third time, Robert. So she tried to be she had no motivation toward her end of her life. I guess she wanted to be with her kids, and she was making her career in the back burner. Even though she wanted a career, she put it in her back burner. She wanted to be with her kids because they were small, and she wanted to help raise it. She felt very exhausted, with Hollywood. She didn't like how people were. She just wanted her family, and go off and hang out with her family. And she felt like she was being destroyed about how she was being treated in Hollywood. So she wasn't treated well in Hollywood. She thought the people in Hollywood was terrible. So no, she did not like people in Hollywood. She thought they were scum, pump scum. I'm going to look up that true. Did she really think the people in Hollywood were pump scum? Natalie Wood. It says yes, as she didn't like the people who were. Please tell me. 2 cards. I'll do 2 cards. She said she's tried to be positive. So some people she did like, and she had pleasure and happiness, like when she went off on the boat. She tried to be happy, enjoy, and have fun with the people she was with. The people who treated her well, she was happy. And then she was living in the past. She lived in the past in her relationships with men and stuff. She tried to focus of the future, but it was hard because she was living in the past relationships. And she tried to forgive the people who treated her horribly in Hollywood in her life. And she left home probably early. She had to grow up early, Natalie Wood, so she didn't like the people in Hollywood. So I'm going to do, how was her relationship with Robert Wagner? How was her relationship with Robert Wagner, her first husband and her last husband before she died? How was her first relationship with Robert Wagner? Please tell me 4 cards. How was her relationship with Robert Wagner? There was transformation in a last marriage. She didn't like it. They were fighting all the time. She wanted to have a better marriage. She probably regretted getting married to him toward the end of her life. Because they fought all the time. Maybe she was a very nice person and she flirted and he didn't like it. He said, "Oh, you're flirting with this person," and he didn't like it. And she wanted to leave him. I felt like she wanted to leave Robert Wagner because of the way, and it was excess baggage in the relationship because she knew things about him. And she tried to not think about it, but she knew there was. So it doesn't sound like they were happy and compatible. Covering from financial, maybe she had some finance problems. Maybe she put stock in, or she spent too much money on stuff, and it didn't turn out the way she wanted. So finances and she's recovering from loss of money and poverty. Like maybe she had to sell stuff because she didn't make as many movies as she wanted, so she had to sell things. Maybe she had to sell a house or jewelry or something, and she thought he was the lesser of the two evils in his marriage. Maybe she wasn't sure if she should marry Robert Wagner because she thought, oh, maybe he was better than some other men that she was. She wanted to be loved, and he was better than the alternative. So she was not happy. And she was confused in the relationship. She didn't know which way it was going with Robert Wagner. She wasn't sure if she should stay or go with Robert. And in this one movement, she tried to control her own destiny and direction because she didn't like how Robert Wagner was treating her. You know, he was being nasty to her. So she wanted to have her own course and direction because they fought constantly. And she wanted to leave the relationship. She didn't like how they were fighting all the time. They probably tried to not fight in front of the children. She didn't want fighting in front of the children, but they did. So they had a very bad relationship, her and Wagner. Okay, how was her relationship with her kids before she passed away? I'm going to look at these cards. Please tell me 3 cards. How was her relationship with her kids before she died? Three cards. How was her relationship with her kids? There was tension in the relationship with her kids, but it was an unhappy family because of the relationship she had with her kids because of her husband, because they fought, and I think the kids knew that, so they were unhappy in the relationship. They wanted harmony to have their parents to get along. Like they didn't like fighting and stuff, there was a lot of conflict with the kids because of the fighting with the parents. You know, they didn't want that, and then they fought. So they did had some disagreements. The kids and Natalie would have with her daughters in her last marriage. Yeah. Even though she wanted, there was some happiness in the relationship with her children too. Sometimes it was, toward the end it was happy. I know it said sometimes she fought with her kids because of him, but she tried to be happy with her kids, and they tried to be happy with her. In the most part, they did have happiness toward the end, and they had a reunion. You know, before she passed away, they tried to get along and be happy, and there was some disharmony in the end because I think her older kids knew that the marriage wasn't going to last because of the fighting and the disagreements. And they had few goals, kids. You know, when you're a little kid, you don't have too many goals. You just go to school, and maybe she had them do some chores. But generally, sometimes they had disagreements, the kids, because of her marriage with Robert. So I'm going to ask this is entertainment purposes only. When, in the end, what's his name end her life? Do we think he did that? Did he, elephant in the room, did he have something to do with her life ending, or did she actually really drown, or did she die, was killed, or whatever? Entertainment or early. Did he have something to do with her death, or did she really drown? Please tell me. Did she drown, or did he throw into the water? Entertainment purposes only. It says development. There was some development in the relationship toward the end of her life. There was misdirected action. Things didn't go the way they said it did in the police report when she died. So it was not being honest. And she was a perfection in a lot of ways in her on how she did things, and he was not telling the truth. And yeah, and there was no passion in the relationship anymore. There was no spark. So the relationship was pretty much dead in the water. And she tried to make the best of the relationship, but there's no motivation to save this marriage because they fought. She tried to do the best she can, but he was very not nice to her. And also, she tried to be strong, and self-doubt in the relationship, they said that she was drunk or something when it wasn't truth. They said she was weak toward, going off the splendor, and she was insecure and she had low energy, like she just fell off because she was afraid of water. They said she was afraid of water and stuff, and that transformation, change. There was a change in it. She wanted to leave things behind. She wanted to leave the relationship. She wanted to leave the marriage. She wanted to go. She wanted to, probably if she survived, she would have got a divorce and taken the kids, and he probably would have moved. So there was excess baggage. There were things she knew about him that he didn't want her to tell. So she knew about him and his life. So she wanted to move on. She wanted to leave him and move on. And yeah, recovery from financial loss. Like it said in the other one, she was running out of money, and she probably would have to do another movie, or have him pay child support. So that's what I feel. And she was a very charitable person. Like, she gave to a lot of different so they were not happy. Doesn't say that he did, but it said that there's things that are not true in the accident report. All right, I'm going to ask, was there things that on the boat when she died, was the report honest or was it not? On the boat, on the ship, the Splendor Grass, I think that's what they called the boat. Yeah, did things not go the way that that Robert and other people said that didn't go? Or people, is it a cover up? Is Natalie Wood's death a cover up? Entertainment purposes. Did she really drown, or was she pushed? Like I said, it said that. This one says that things aren't as what it seems. So I'm gonna do 5 cards and see if things. Hopefully you will tell me. If it doesn't, sometimes it is what it is. Like when it comes to cards. Oh boy, this is interesting. It was heartbreaking, this relationship. She knew it was terrible, the relationship with Robert. She was fighting with him before she drowned. I feel like there was, she was going to end up another divorce. She was married to him and then divorced him. She was young when she got married the first time to him. So they were going to end up in heartbreak, divorce. She was suffering the way he treated her. He did not treat her well at all. And she felt restless in this relationship. She did not like how he was treating her. Like he was treating her like she was a prisoner in the relationship, and she was burnt out in this relationship. She felt really exhausted in the relationship. She didn't feel like he was letting her do what she wanted to. Like he was like sort of a narcissistic. I'm gonna look that up. Was he a narcissistic person? And he didn't treat her well at all. And she had no direction of where she was going to go because he didn't let her do it. She didn't, she wanted, there was no direction about getting the relationship, like if she should stay or she should go. So she was like, she didn't have a chance to make up her mind before. There were delays in the relationship. In this one, she wanted to get a divorce. There would be delays in the relationship. And also in the boat, when I was asking the boat, there were delays. Like everybody was making up excuses on the boat saying, oh, this is how it is, but it isn't. So there were delays on how people were saying that how she died, and there was lack of control of how she died. Yeah, and there was heartbreak when she died. People were upset. They weren't telling the truth about how she died, and they were restless about how she died and how they were going to keep the story straight. And like I said, there were delays in how he was going to tell the story. He had to make sure he was saying the right things to the right people because he didn't want to get arrested. And there was anxiety. He was anxiety of, in this relationship when she died. He was like stressed out because he didn't want to end up going to jail, and then his career would be ruined if they find out something happened to Natalie, that she didn't drown, she died, was killed, and he would have fear and depression. And she had fear and depression too toward the end of her life. She had fear and depression, so she was not happy in this relationship. And he was in dismay because he didn't know what he was going to say or do. And he thought it was a new beginning, like he would take care of the kids. He could say that Natalie drowned, and the kids would eventually, they would mourn her, but then would get over. So it seems like he was not telling the truth about her dying and drowning. I'm going to look up 4 cards. Is he a narcissistic person? Robert Wagner. He sounds like it. And was Robert Wagner a narcissistic person? He's still alive. He's in his 90s. So please tell me, is he a narcissistic person? Entertainment purposes. He has inner feelings, and he self-care. He loves himself. Oh, I love myself. He cares about number 1. He doesn't care about. He didn't care about Natalie Wood when she was when she died. Yeah, doesn't care. He loves himself. He only cares about himself. He self-cares. He only cares about himself and his image. He doesn't want anybody in. He has on some debts that he owes people, like he owes some people money, and also he has attachment to some people. And he thinks things can't get worse because of Natalie's death. They said things can't get worse. They're not going to reopen the case because it's been over 30 years. They think, nothing can touch him because he's too old to go to prison and die because he's in his 90s. I don't think anybody's going to reopen the case, and things can't get. So he's like, he thinks he recovered from getting away with it. So, yeah, and. He's exhausted by people still saying that he had something to do with Natalie's death, so he's exhausted by that, and it has destroyed some of his confidence, some of it. Yeah, it doesn't say he's a narcissist, but he loves himself, so I say yes, and he thinks it can't get any worse because of Natalie Wood, because she's gone. And so, yeah, do people think I'm going to look up one more card. Do people think he has something to do with it? I know his Natalie Wood's sister thinks he did, but do people think he has something to do with Natalie Wood's death? Please let me know. Do people think he has something to do with her death? Entertainment purposes only. 4 cards. They think people should take action. They think they got Natalie Wood and her family got the raw deal that she died, and no one's taken action. I know her sister tried to wanted them to open up the case, but because it's a cold case and no one's doing anything, so she wishes that someone would step up and tell the truth about her sister's death before she passes. And the personal belief is that she does believe he does have something people do believe that he does have something, and it had to do with he wanted his freedom. He didn't want to be married to her, and he thought it was foolish that he should stay married to a person because it would have, if she would divorce him, he would another time, and the marriage didn't work out, he would have to pay alimony and stuff. So he thinks he's a very generous person. I'm just telling you what the cards think, and they think some people think he's generous, and they hope that sometime in the future the truth will come out about Natalie's death. And he can be very boring. They think it's very boring that they letting him people getting away with it. So yeah, I'm gonna ask two cards. Is they gonna ever find out the truth of Natalie's death? People ever gonna find out the truth? Is people gonna find out the truth of Natalie Wood's death? Or is it going to be unsolved? And they say it's been solved, but a lot of people don't. I personally don't think she drowned. I think it was the other way, what my cards are telling me. Entertainment purposes. Will the truth ever come out in the next 20, 30 years about Natalie? Please. It says action. There's going to be people taking actions about it. That I feel like some people might say we're going to judge him because of what he did. Maybe they'll find something like his kids as they get older will find out, and they think it's people are going to finally opening their eyes and find out the truth. People are going to be aggressive about it. They're tired of poor Natalie was killed because she wasn't happy in her marriage to narcissistic Robert. And also, they're going to be exhausted. A lot of people are going to be exhausted. So I don't know if a lot of people want it to go, but I don't know because they're exhausted about waiting over 20 years. So I don't know if they're going to find out the truth of Natalie's death in the next, or reopen the case, because some people do want it, but I'm going to ask one thing. Is the reason why it's not open, is it because of money and power and stuff? I'm going to ask three cards. Is the reason why they're not opening the case because of money? And people have money, and is that a big thing? And it's because he took action to keep him from being thrown in jail, and he had a calling and said, he called the police, he has connections. So he did have connections, and he was aggressive about it, he was demanding about it, and he was very selfish. He didn't care about Natalie or the kids. He cared about number 10, and he was exhausted about the relationship that he had with Natalie. And, no, it doesn't, and it was stuck. He was burnt out in the relationship. So I feel like it's not going to happen in my life. It might happen in 20 years, but I'm not sure. It didn't really say that the truth's going to come out. So I don't know. I did the best I could for my reading. I just know he paid. It had to do with money. He paid money. Like I said, this is entertainment purposes. It does have to do with money. The reason why he's not in jail is to do with money. That's what it said in the cards. He cared. He got in touch with the police and stuff and covered it up. So he did cover it up. So I guess in Hollywood, a lot of people cover up murders or whatever, which is terrible. Like I said, this is entertainment purposes. Poor Natalie Wood, I feel bad for her. And, they do their best. And the kids are hopefully okay when they grew up, and her sister. Until my next reading, like I said, entertainment purposes. Have a good night wherever you are. Bye.